Hello everyone, and welcome to the game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from KnowFear, and he is in the Shimakaze, a Tier 10 Japanese destroyer. He is on map Northern Lights in a 4-point domination game, and there is no carrier, there are 2 raiders, there is no Hydro DD, and there's only 2 destroyers. So we have a friendly destroyer at the D cap, and he first decided to scout that middle area, instead of going directly towards C. Though I have to say, like, this middle area isn't much safer, I feel like, than just going C, because there is plenty of positions where he could get raided. Now we know where the Des Moines and the Salem are right now, so that's good. And he looks like he is deciding to contest the C cap now. Now he doesn't have RPF, so he doesn't know where exactly the destroyer will be. He is technically in radar range of the Des Moines, so and there is the Shimmer. So torps are on their way, enemy Shima is going to smoke, so he is undetected again. And there is still this Des Moines that could be an issue. Oh, he just sank a Neptune. That's nice. And well, a very pleasant start to this game. So, as Des Moines is still an issue, we don't exactly know if the Des Moines went towards the D cap or the C cap. But if he gets raided here, not too many ships should have shots at him. Important in cases like this is just to have your exit strategy prepared. So basically for him it would be like turning left and then running as fast as he can. The Des Moines would have to commit rather heavily in order to shoot him, so the real problem would just probably be the Montana and maybe the Shima. Meanwhile, there is still a fierce battle going for the D cap. There is a Salem sneaking in from behind, so that Gearing will have trouble getting this cap. They have friendly boosters, so the enemy will also have trouble getting it. Not to mention that the enemy destroyer isn't even trying, but he is going to flank here. Now if this Shima gets caught by the booster, with Musashi and a Conqueror also shooting the Shima, that Shima might just be done for here.
Requesting fire on the designated target.
Meanwhile, KnowFear is just conveniently taking this cap, and he has Montana to potentially torp. It also looks like the friendlies might just be pushing towards the B cap. Now the one question would be, what now? The C cap is secured, so he could go towards B, but there is already the gearing. He could try to go through this channel here, maybe at the push at B. But now I guess he's just trying to line up his torps for the Montana. Now that his torps are on reload, he can reconsider. Now we haven't seen the Des Moines for a while, so we really have no idea. For all we know, the Des Moines could pop up here any second. That would just be a slight problem. Now the friendlies are pushing B here, so soon the friendlies will be in a position to help against the Des Moines, but they aren't quite there yet. The enemy Shima looks like he managed to disappear, and the forces at the friendly forces at the D cap are not in a great position. The enemies are probably just capping here without much trouble. But I mean, if this friendly push here continues really aggressively, the enemy team might get caught in some crossfire there and be caught out of position. So that would be nice. And we've got some torpedo hits against the Montana. Now KnowFear is still unsure what to do, it looks like. The problem is, if he continues this way, he will run into the Des Moines radar, most likely. And he can't really afford to get caught there. So right now I guess he's just happy to provide some spot, and there is the radar. Now nobody can really, well, I guess Musashi could shoot him from 20 kilometers. So unless the Des Moines pops up here suddenly, should be fine. Once this radar is gone, he has a nice window of opportunity where he actually can just cross here, get a better view of the situation, and then decide how aggressive he can be there. I mean, without RPF he probably can't catch this Shima. There is no point in hunting the Musashi towards the zone wall. So the only place where he really can make a difference is here on this right flank and maybe try to torpedo some enemies. But first, he kind of needs a chance to actually go there without getting Des Moines. It's also interesting, the enemy team is pretty... They still haven't captured D, but they are heavily deployed on the 9-10 line, which is pretty pointless, but you know. Good for the friendlies. And KnowFear moving out here, some random torps, because, I mean, why not? You'll never know what you catch, and he has still 2 more launchers at the end. Now we know where the Des Moines is. Still in radar range, but... well, the radar shouldn't be ready. So he's making some use of an island here to actually shoot the Des Moines without getting detected. But the Des Moines is sailing away and, well, the Shima guns aren't that great. So a few shatters later, I guess he's just decided to get closer and try to torp something. The friendly push, so far great success. The friendlies control 3 caps, the enemy have nothing. The friendly booster is still kiting the way against the enemies, and, well, he's basically just delaying the enemies, because they aren't really doing anything useful, which is great. So what's the friendly team going to do now? They can either push here towards the right, or they can hunt down this Musashi. I mean, it looks like the teams are kind of trading bases. Well, I mean, the friendlies capture everything, but it's like, or spawns I should say, like the friendlies are pushing into the enemy spawn and the enemy is pushing into the friendly spawn. Kinda interesting. So we've got the barely floating Sao, so guns it is. He's even smoked here to be safe. And down goes the Sao. Now thankfully the enemy Shimakaze has never shown any interest in actually capping stuff. And he still doesn't, although he might just by accident end up in A, I guess. And well, a lot of the enemy ships, they just are very interested in the 9-10 line. You'll never know what they are doing there behind those islands, undetected. Cuddling up so close. I mean, they might just be having a different kind of fun, I guess. But, you know, won't help them win. And look at that, the Des Moines is slowly creeping closer, still 200 meters outside of radar. So KnowFear is slowly reversing there, while the Des Moines is slowly creeping closer. He's trying to get a few shots. Oh, somebody touched this Des Moines. If I could sink the Des Moines here, that would be amazing, because he is their last raider. Meanwhile, he's casually sinking this Republic. And 3 friendlies are actually hunting down the Musashi, it looks like. So ship-wise, it's not so decisive. I mean, the friendlies are, what, 1 ship in the lead, I think? But cap-wise, it's just a disaster for the enemy team. And the friendlies had the caps for so long, they have accumulated a lot of points. So the enemy team will be hard-pressed to come back from this one. Even though, like ship-wise, they could totally do it. Now the enemy team does control a cap by now, and the Shima might just accidentally cap. And the friendlies just lost one of the ships going for the Musashi. Now let's hope they can sink that Musashi without losing more, but like the Buffalo and the Kremlin, if they run into this force here, bad things could happen. So, you know, there is still plenty of chance for the enemy to come back, technically. They just have to sink ships fast and maybe take a cap or 2, or 3 or 4. Meanwhile, KnowFear has found himself some battleships. Now, obviously one of them is a Friedrich, and that Friedrich might just have Hydro running. So, there is a potential threat coming towards him. He's focusing his troops on the Kremlin, possibly because the Friedrich might just be hard to hit with a Hydro. 2 troops into the Kremlin, and there is a raider, so I mean we know that Des Moines was here somewhere on the other side of this island. And he might have just been hoping that Des Moines pushed north. It looks like Des Moines didn't, or at least not far enough. So, I mean he's still reasonably healthy. But, well, Ibuki is quite far away, but the Kremlin and the Friedrich could hit him pretty heavily here. And it gets worse. There is the Des Moines. The Des Moines was actually pushing south. So his smoke, well, I mean, the thing is, smoke doesn't do much against the radar, but the radar is already disappearing. So he timed his smoke perfectly that he can now use it to shoot the Des Moines. Of course, it would be nice if one of the battleships got, well, the battleship around here got in on the fun. Of course, this Des Moines kind of has to see. I mean, there is quite a bit of time until radar is ready again. So they really need to say the before, sink her before that happens. And looks like the Des Moines disappeared. Now if the Des Moines fires, yeah, he fires firing his guns so they can see her again. If some torps on the way, they might be doing the trick. And this is a Des Moines that carries Hydro, but you know, that was a very short threat because he got taken out. Now the enemy team managed to take A, and somebody is capturing C. The friendly Kremlin here is, I think, wisely reversing. And you know, maybe KnowFear can get some torps into one of those battleships. If the battleships put... Well, I mean, the Friedrich might still have Hydro. Now, it would have made sense if he used it earlier. So we never know, it might be on cooldown or not. Now, it looks like the Seattle and the Montana just found themselves a Shimakaze. If they can take care of the Shima, that would be amazing. The Ibuki is capping C. I mean, the friendlies are currently 1 ship ahead. Yeah, and he's trying to warn the Kremlin to not go forward here because he wants to torp. Obviously, like if the enemy pushes in here, then he can just torp them all the way and therefore help out his Kremlin. And his Kremlin has no reason to push into the Friedrich and the enemy Kremlin. So it looks like the enemy Kremlin might just be going for it. It's very risky to open up here with his guns, because if one of those battleships gets a salvo in on him, and I mean that... I just missed. Like now he's undetected. I feel like that was a bit of an unnecessary risk to shoot there before he got behind the island. But hey, it worked out. So it looks like the Ibuki is just appearing here to help out. The enemy Shimakaze escaped. But you know, the Montana and the Seattle might have something to say when it comes to the Kremlin and the Ibuki. Friendly Kremlin trying to reverse it. Yeah. The enemy Kremlin is probably going for the ram at this point. And I don't think anyone can... Well, I mean, you'd need those, like the Montana, to stop him, because he can shoot a broadside. And they rammed. So, friendly Buffalo still a lot... No. Okay then, it's 3 against 3. And the enemy has 3 caps now. But the friendlies accumulated so many points early on that it's still looking rather decent. And again, it's 4 minutes left. So we'll just have to see. The Montana seems to be going for A. Not a... Well, I don't know how much hit points the Montana has. The biggest problem of the Montana will be the Shima, because the Shima will just remain unspotted and try to torp him. So if he manages to avoid those torps, this might work quite well. Even if he doesn't take the A cap here, all he needs to do is contest it. Although it might have made more sense for the Seattle to go here. And for some reason the Shima managed to get himself spotted by Montana. Meanwhile, KnowFear has found the Friedrich and he is definitely going to try to sink this guy. Once again, we are unsure if his Hydro is ready or not. You should always presume Hydro is ready and act accordingly. I mean, currently it's just hoping, right? I mean, either the Friedrich dodges or not, there isn't anything you can do about this. But you have to be careful to stay outside of the Hydro range, because otherwise you might just get caught with your pants down. And he's so low on health that one salvo can totally take him out. So the Friedrich is currently avoiding those torps, so I would assume Hydro is running. Okay, he's not avoiding those torps, but I think he tried. So Seattle's still pretty healthy, the Ibuki is coming from here, so he's smoking. And that's really the thing, right? This Friedrich was, what, 500 meters outside of Hydro range. Or does the Friedrich also have the 6 kilometer Hydro, or is it just 5.5 kilometers? And there it is, yeah, he's Hydro, which it's a 6 kilometer Hydro, right? So now he has to run, and honestly, Friedrich could easily... Well, I mean, the friend is probably still win, so it's not that big of a deal. But the secondaries alone are a really big threat at this point. And he managed to set a fire. Now he landed a torp a little bit earlier. I'm not sure, did it cause a flooding? Because the damage con might just be on cooldown. It really looks like the damage con is on cooldown. So he stopped shooting here, he's got his fire. He's just going back into concealment. He's managed to get away here. Just barely, but he managed to get away. And well, with that, they secured the win. And here we are with the results. KnowFear earned himself 2,739 base experience. And while he got in a few hairy situations, he managed to prevail in the end and do quite a lot of damage. He achieved that devastating strike of First Blood and a high caliber, scoring 269,000 points of damage. Not quite a Kraken, but almost. With 4 ships sunk. But hey, it was a nice battle. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I'll see you guys next time.